Episode 9 is set to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are really interested in when it comes to this movie has all to do with the various twists and turns, as well as the surprises and revelations coming our way for this movie that's really going to change how we actually view both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Now, one thing in particular that a lot of people are very curious about when it comes to this movie is, of course, Rey's parents, specifically Rey's father, and exactly how JJ is going to utilize the character of Rey and her lineage in this story. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very intriguing and exciting. Now, specifically, a description of Rey on a desert world, where it's described that she is entering a structure that is connected to a tall canyon. It's described to be the home of her father, where Rey is searching for clues of her past. It's described that Rey is traveling with R2-D2, where it said that she comes across many ancient artifacts that were collected from Luke Skywalker and handed down to the Church of the Force, which was then eventually handed down to her own father. It said that inside of his home lies dozens of relics that Luke Skywalker discovered, one of which is said to be the book of the Legend of the Whills. The next goes over Rey shedding a tear when she is looking around the room. It's described that a young Rey is laughing in the distance and heard by Rey, hinting at her childhood being heard by an older version of Rey. Now, it's described that the relics were hidden in his home away from the remnants of the Empire, discovering them as they were on the hunt for what Luke Skywalker was spreading across the galaxy after the events of Return of the Jedi. Additionally, it's described that in this structure, it is said that Rey's father's home, it said that there is a workshop in the background where many lightsaber parts are seen. They are described to be parts of lightsabers from fallen Jedi during Order 66 that Luke retrieved from one of Palpatine's vaults after the events of Episode 6. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this, and the one that really does stand out to me the most is, of course, the Book of the Whills, basically the legend of course, the Whills. So what's really intriguing to me is that Rey's father has a lot of these relics and artifacts that were collected from Luke Skywalker that were handed down to the Church of the Force, where the Church of the Force eventually gave it to Rey's father. Now, in case you guys haven't been following, we've been going over Rey's parents for quite a long time now, and we've been going over their connections to the Church of the Force. In case you guys have no idea what that is, it's basically a group that basically kept the Jedi, pretty much ideology alive during the dark times, during the rule of the Empire, as well as during the remnants of the Empire, and of course after the fall of the Galactic Empire and the death of Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. Now, this all took place mostly during the infancy of the First Order, so we do know that Luke Skywalker was discovering a lot of Jedi lore with Lor San Tekka by his side throughout the ages. And Lor San Tekka, by the way, the old man that was killed by Kylo in the beginning of Episode 7, was a part of the Church of the Force. So what's really intriguing to me, though, is how Luke Skywalker discovered a book called The Legend of the Whills. Now, The Legend of the Whills, this is where things begin to get very exciting, is that it seems as though that Disney and Lucasfilm want to explore the Whills in Star Wars Episode 9 to a certain extent. Thousands of missions with Luke Skywalker. So you can only imagine the potential of creating a young Luke Skywalker TV series after Return of the Jedi, leading up to when he becomes a master. There's a lot of material there that they could really take advantage of if they really wanted to. So Rey's father also has the pieces of course, fallen Jedi lightsabers, where the lightsabers are not active, they are just pieces of course, the fallen Jedi lightsabers after, of course, Order 66. And this was all discovered by Luke Skywalker after pretty much going inside of one of the vaults that belonged to Emperor Palpatine and retrieving many of the fallen Jedi lightsabers. So you can really see all the different connections that JJ and Chris are really trying to put together now for not only Rey and her parents, but also to Luke Skywalker and the past. Things that have to do with the Whills, Order 66, all these different things. And another one of which that does stand out to me is how we do know that Rey's father was connected to the Church of the Force. But what's really intriguing, though, is how basically Luke Skywalker's relics were handed down to that group, and then that group handed it down to Rey's father. Now, there was a lot of talk right now that Episode 9 really is going to have a basic connection to the new Star Wars trilogy, and it only makes one wonder exactly what they are going to do in this movie that is going to connect to the new Star Wars trilogy by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, which most likely is going to release the first film, by the way, in 2021. So with that being said, guys, what do you think about all these connections between Rey's father, Luke Skywalker, and how Luke discovered all of these relics and handed it down to the Church of the Force, which eventually landed in the hands of Rey's father? I'm starting to wonder, is this desert world a different side of Jakku, or is Rey going to another world that is the location of Rey's father's home? Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.